funny story about Nikola, and if anybody tells you they knew, they are lying through their teeth.
Yeah, Nikola Jokic was a fat guy from the Balkans, and then he ended up being incredible.
One of the greatest players of all time.
How are you supposed to know?
So Nikola joined the agency. What is really funny, this is 17 and a half. Yeah. This is the first and last player in the 27 years old history of the agency that we signed him without anybody seeing him.
Nikola Jokic was not just an overlooked player. He was practically invisible. And to make matters worse, he preferred it like that. Most people today know the Joker was drafted during a taco commercial, but they often forget that he himself was sleeping during his draft night. Can you imagine that? He was irrelevant until one day, he wasn't. The day the league would begin to fear him, the day he would get the fame he didn't want, the day he became the standard for what a big man could be in the NBA.
First half, the fifth half this year that the Nuggets have scored at least 70. And Harris is wide open, so he shoots the three instead. That's no good. And the water polo player.
That day was February 3rd, 2017. But before this game that made NBA players fear Nikola Jokic, let's go back to when he was balling, but everyone refused to take note.
Nikola's his skill set and the way that he plays, the eye test, he doesn't jump out at you right away. But when you watch it over time and you understand what he's doing and how he's affecting a game, it really jumps out at you.
Jokic was never the type of player who impressed you in his first 5 seconds. He did not jump higher than everyone else, he did not run faster than everyone else, and he did not dominate physically the way most superstars do. And worse, he wasn't even a ball hog. So that means you had to watch closely to see what was happening when he was on the floor. You had to pay attention. And before the game that made NBA players fear him, the Nuggets basically had to get humiliated to pay attention to who he is. In 2016, Coach Malone didn't know who to go with in the center position between Jokic and Nurkic. So the coach tried using both players at the same time. The results were terrible, and eventually Jokic went to the coach and said he would like to come from the bench. Though humble, this didn't help either, and it finally reached a breaking point when the Nuggets suffered a 20-point loss to the Mavericks. From then on, Malone switched back to having Joker as the starter. He wasn't flashy or loud, but the results were better, proving that he was effective. The thing is, Nikola Jokic is not a player that wants to be the best player on the floor. He simply wants to get the job done and go home. This made him invisible to people who were looking for superstars that met their criteria of what a superstar was. It made him weird to his teammates who had no choice but to notice him.
I've never seen anything like him. Just the way it's just weird. Like, he's just a weird dude.
But eventually, this desire to get the job done would make it impossible for people to ignore him one day. It happened in 2017 in a game against the Bucks. This was when Giannis was still developing as well, so this was just an ordinary playing game between two average teams. But since getting the starter's role, Jokic's confidence was increasing, and his understanding of the game was growing rapidly. And what simply happened against the Bucks was that his understanding of the game had grown to a level where it was impossible to ignore him. From the start of the game, he was simply on another level.
So very productive minutes for the Joker. And an interception. Count the steal. Long lead to Murray. And he puts it away. Control. With those big water polo hands. Dump it under. Harris. The best pass of the Nuggets. There it is. Has his first triple-double of his NBA career.
The league had never seen this before. A big playing as a point guard, controlling the floor, forcing everyone to play at his own pace, and throwing passes as if he had eyes at the back of his head. What is this? Before this, the superstar bigs who dominated the league did so with power and sheer force. But this was finesse. This is when NBA players started to fear Nikola Jokic. 10 days after that performance, the Nuggets traded Nurkic to Portland. Although this was the game that started it, this game didn't seal Nurkic's fate. The game that did that came 7 days after the win against the Bucks. After that performance, the conversation around Nikola Jokic changed. At first, they called him a stat pattern, but the more they watched, the more it became impossible to ignore how dominant and scary he was. After that game against the Bucks, Jokic averaged 19 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists for the rest of the season. He was the clear best player on the floor almost every night, anchoring the offense while the front court was in flux. But just in case those at the back didn't know there was a new sheriff in town, 7 days after the game against the Bucks, the Joker went to the basketball mecca and dropped 40 points. And yes, he did it in style.
One of the best in the business.
Here is Jokic.
Him score in many different ways.
Now Jokic in the third. From three, it is Jokic.
Now the Nuggets were sure they found their Joker, and this Joker ended that season with 6 triple-doubles. Now the NBA feared him, and since, they can't stop talking about him.
He's the most efficient basketball player I've ever seen. And I know there's guys from way back in the past I didn't get to see play. But for me, in this modern generation of basketball, please show me who else is out there that plays like this at this efficient level offensively.
I mean, just a big tub of lard, just shoving people around. You know, no six-pack, ain't stealth built or anything like that. He's just big and strong. You know, waddle. He don't even walk. He waddles and stuff. You just look at him, and you can't stop him.
Like stuff like you just said, we haven't seen before.
Yeah, it's crazy. It just looks too easy.
And he's so damn good that day. He's so good that people barely talk about it.
Right. Just take a moment to talk about Nikola Jokic making a joke out of the NBA every night.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God. I was literally just talking to my good friend Jared Dudley right before we jumped on here. I was just like, this guy is ridiculous. He was like, yeah, he's ridiculous.
When someone like Steve Nash says that, it carries weight. He understands the game at the highest level. And even he is looking at Jokic like this should not be possible. But even in all this, the league still couldn't embrace him. This was a league that was welcoming superstars like Ja Morant and Anthony Edwards. There was no way they could relate to a superstar that was slow, couldn't jump, and who didn't want to be famous.
How much do you think that plays an impact on how we connect to people like a Jokic, or how young people might connect to a dude like Ja, who feels more familiar to him?
I think that's true. That's what happened. But I think that Jokic, if you look at him, he don't want any of the recognition. He don't want any of the accolades. He don't want any of that. It's like when he gets something, it's like, what am I getting this from? Just doing my job. So maybe that turns people off, because usually the guys that look like us or that hoop like us, they want that.
But the fact is that Jokic is just inevitable. Whether you want to respect him or not, you will eventually come to fear him. Today, he's getting mentioned among names like LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant.
I know he's the greatest in this era right now, for sure. And as great as Steph Curry has been, as great as KD and all those guys have been, because Jokic gets it done in multiple categories.
Even former players like Joakim Noah rate him so highly, they find it hard to watch anyone else, including LeBron, Curry, and KD.
Nikola Jokic, your opinion? My favorite player in the world. It's so fun to watch. It's hard to watch anybody else, to be honest.
By this point, the fear is no longer loud or obvious. It is quiet and understood. Players know that if you make a mistake, he will find it. They know if you try to speed him up, he will slow the game down. And they know that if you think you have him figured out, he is already 2 steps ahead. This is not fear of athletic dominance. This is fear of someone who understands the game better than you do. And once that fear sets in, there is no going back. After that legendary game against the Bucks in 2017, Jokic did another masterclass against the same team in 2018, and the commentators couldn't help talking about what he did the previous year.
Remember, Nikola Jokic had 2 triple-doubles in 2 games last year against the Bucks, both of which the Nuggets won. Jokic is away.
What makes this story so powerful is that it all traces back to one moment. One game that changed how Jokic was viewed forever. He was no longer the overlooked player or the misunderstood prospect. He became the standard for a new kind of dominance, one built entirely on intelligence and control. And if you want to see another moment like this, where a single performance changed how a player was perceived forever, watch that one Steph Curry game that made NBA players fear him next.